that we produced out in conjunction with that master plan?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So there's no variances or anything changing from that perspective?
No.
Okay. Mr. Aller, you agree or on that TCC?
Yes, I agree. I'm part of the TCC for this application, and the TCC did determine that all of the content requirements are in the plan that's before you, and that they comply with the ordinance requirements.
Mr. Aller is our board attorney for this application. Mr. Slate, you agree also from your perspective?
Yes, there is the one issue of the quiet crossing, but there's procedurally some issues that have come up on that, and the applicant can lay out further information on that before.
Mark Matthew here today as our traffic consultant.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Any other reports from any of the boards?
No, that's it for
Mr. Henshaw?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and board members. This is indeed the GDP hearing, and it's significantly different than what the planning board usually does in terms of site plans and subdivisions, in that this is more like a 10,000 elevation or height view looking down the site and talking about apportionment of the space of use and density of the use and the appearance and the different products that might be ultimately available on the site. And the good news is that the ordinance that the township drafted and crafted is very specific. It outlines exactly the size and shape of the lots and what uses would go on them. It outlines the density of the use. It outlines the setbacks that are to apply. And the good news from the applicant's perspective, particularly mine as the attorney, is that we're complying with all of that. So we completely bought into the township's template for the redevelopment of this important site of the township. So what we're here to do tonight is explain to you, give you the background and a bit of the overall taste and flavor of what ultimately is going to happen at that site. But this is not the kind of hearing where we talk about how far apart the fire hydrants are, or what the invert height is of a particular manhole. We have a long way to go in terms of design. And the next steps, if we were successful this evening, would be, and as Susan mentioned this in her report, the GDP ordinance and the overlay zone in place here does not allow us to proceed the subdivision until we get through this process. So as soon as we get done here, the idea would be to go ahead and seek subdivision approval. The lots that we're proposing to create in that subdivision will align exactly with the ordinance that was adopted by the township. So it's going to look exactly like what the township had in mind and envisioned for the site. I think almost all the board members were here for the rezoning and the hearing that the planning board had on the master plan. The governing body worked for months and months on this. So this site is probably the most studied site in the township as far as I'm concerned, and certainly was rigorously reviewed during that process. We're going to reconfirm most of that information for you, but once again, we think the township got it right the first time, so we don't need to rework it in any meaningful way. The witnesses I have tonight are four in number. The first is Clark Maxler. Clark is a principal